Vrei să auzi ceva deosebit, să vezi ceva special? Urmărește Lumea Obiectiv cu Mircea Bratosin.
Procedăm la deschiderea oficială a evenimentului și după acest cuvânt înainte de limba română vom trece în limba engleză și în limba franceză, având în vedere numărul mare de oaspeți în străinătate pe care le avem. So, dear colleagues, dear students, I am glad to welcome you at the opening ceremony of the International Conference, Jean Monnet International Conference. We will start with the opening ceremony and the words of the officialities of the university. And then I would like to invite first the President of the Senate of the University of Oradea in order to give his word and welcome speech.
Thank you very much. Every time things like this happens during Costel, feeling very proud because a new file is attached to our university legacy. So, the region of the Western Balkans, despite the fact that it is a major sub-region of Europe and is surrounded by new member states, has in mind out of new borders. The European integration process has moved, but very slowly. The European Union membership has been written down for the 6 Western Balkan states. The EU conditions at this approach made a huge impact on the design of the democratization reforms in the region. The EU also, through its wider political economy,
au extrem multă disponibilitate. Le mulțumesc pentru că au inițiat mai multe proiecte și unul special se materializează astfel legat de spațiul balcanic, de zona Balcanilor, o zonă pe care și noi istorici suntem foarte apropiați prin comunitățile de români, a români, de exemplu, români, istor-români și ce mai fi fiind ei la studiu de Dunăre, din toate țările balcanice. Deci este un proiect aproape de sufletul nostru și felicit încă o dată atât pe Ișban, Olga și pe Mircea și cei care sunt artizani pentru de astăzi, dar și pe ceilalți colegi de la Departamentul de Relații Internaționale care ne asigură facultății noastre și universități, de ce nu, o vizibilitate extrem de accentuată. Encore, pour notre unité du pays étranger, permettez-moi d'adresser directement mon conseil. L'un des grands défis de l'Europe contemporaine est lié au processus d'intégration et à la nécessité de l'intégration européenne des différentes communautés régionales. Des évaluations réalisées ont montré qu'il existait un grand besoin d'expertise des politiques pour le développement du processus d'intégration européenne. L'idée de coopération régionale ou de régionalisme considérée comme un moyen de coopération des politiques dans différents domaines entre voisins géographiquement proches a été une tendance majeure dans la politique étrangère du pays et particulièrement en Europe.
That Oradea is a periphery. But this periphery represents something which says that it's close to a border. And our starting point was always this, our position to the border. So we started to analyze what is the border and how this border affects our life. Several times during the last century in Europe, state borders became real insurmountable barriers, not only for enemies, but also for their own citizens. This character of the borders created rather the role of elements that prevented the emergence of common activities and values. Although, from a strategic point of view, strictly from the perspective of border regions, they were directly interested in developing a strategy based on cooperation with the neighboring regions. Nevertheless, the specificity of Europe is given not only by the diversity of cultural and historical realities, but also by the existence of numerous borders between states. Specifically in the Western Balkan region, the fall of communism and the disintegration of Yugoslavia have amplified in a first stage the process of identity emancipation and the emergence of new cleavages in the Balkans. After the armed conflict that followed the initial proclamation of the independence, in several of these countries, a period of consolidation came along with European integration as well as cooperation and reconciliation. Starting from 2017, together with my colleague Mircea again,
we worked together in many projects. We tried to build a network in the field of identity, of different kinds of borders. We celebrate this year 20 years of international relation and European study at University of Oradea. I'm very happy. I'm very happy because all this year we have a lot of events, and we will have a big one in the conference. Hope to have also our colleagues involved in this conference, and we are thankful for this achievement. Actually, we have here the former dean of the faculty, Professor Roga, which together with us built this department, this field of study at the University of Oradea. Together with each one, I have visited all these countries from Balkans. Since 2017, only with a break during the pandemic. Let me confess something today. I write a lot, I read a lot, I have considered myself as an expert in the field of identity, in the field of minority issue related with
and also to my friends and colleagues, the organizers of this conference, Istvan, Bolgar, Mircea, but also to some of our former acquaintances like Professor Olga, with whom we have cooperated early, but also greetings to the community, academic community of Oradea and wider of the universities who are attending this conference, but also greetings to students. My title of the paper that I wrote specifically for this conference is Good Neighbor Relations and its emergence as the new norm of regionalism. And so the focus is on this concept or the term or terminology called good neighborly relations. So what I will try to do in my presentation will be the following four aspects of my paper. I will look to the aspects of the emergence of norms or new norms or candidates to become a norm in a particular field, and here the concentration will be on the concept of the neighborly relations, or as I have put it in the abbreviation GNR, and look to the overall aspect of the neighborly relations in the Western Balkans, and we look to the way how GNR concept has been applied in the particular setting, in the particular space.
Thank you very much, Istvan, for this very, very interesting presentation. We can have 5 minutes for the question. I think it's better than now. Please have question.
From the countries of the Western Balkans and of the public opinion. So is the average citizens from the Western Balkans interested in the EU's normative, which is formative power, or they see their country's enlargement in the European Union in terms of a transactional process? So they're more mainly interested in aspects such as free movement of people and economic benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your question. Just to actually, when you look to the wider issue of the norms that we contribute to the EU, to this spreading and acceptance in the Western Balkans. This is mostly an aspect that relates to the elite rather than the wider public. We don't have yet probably the way how we have had in Romania and the Central European countries.
Concerning the conditionality for the new candidate. In my opinion, when you present, I reflect a little bit, which is the difference between accession of Central Eastern European countries and the Balkan countries, and now the Eastern Partnership countries. I said was possible in our case to solve it. This problem doesn't exist, good neighborhood relation conditionality. Why? Because before this accession in EU, all this country was integrated in NATO. But I know Macedonia is in NATO, Albania is in NATO. But speaking regarding the region is in a so-called area. It's not my concept, it's concept Jürgen Roland from Freiburg University. There exist in the world the so-called porous regions. One of the porous regions is Balkan. Another porous region is Eastern Partnership. In was before the war.
And it upheld a big oppression upon these people. And I was wondering, because it lingers in the discussion the aspect of integration, what exactly is the EU identity we're referring to when it comes to the Balkans, and especially what identity can we assume we can integrate in the Balkans that would incorporate European values?
Yes, I just in the line of what I said earlier to the professor's question about the difference between the public opinion and the political elite. There is a consensus among the political elite, but increasingly among the part of the population that are mostly, let's say, belonging to the categories of the people who are socialized with the EU values and norms and standards. So when we speak about the EU norms, values, in case it is about rule of law, in case it is about the democracy, in case it is about the freedoms of speech and freedom of assembly, you find these words often used by the public and by the relevant stakeholders saying, I mean, we wouldn't and we couldn't and we shouldn't, let's say, damage these values in our countries because we stand to join the EU. So in a sense, these EU values and norms that you mentioned, you refer generally, and specifically these aspects that relate to the way how it is understood.
Another presentation, Mr. Professor Costel is the Dean of the Faculty of European Studies from Oradea-Aula. And please come and start the presentation. We appreciate a lot and give us a proven message for have together future projects, dean presence, vice dean presence, the head of department presence also will be together with us, the head of the PhD school this evening. Hope to have a strong cooperation, good partnership between our faculty who have built this present, and please, Professor.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mircea, dear colleagues and friends. It's truly a pleasure and an honor to be amongst the colleagues who represent the Faculty of European Studies and the University of Cluj, today's and tomorrow's event. Indeed, partnership that binds us together.
There's a very strong partnership that binds us together, and we will also work together about the preoccupations for the Jean-Monnet framework, which has enabled us to conduct so much research not only in the Western Balkans, but also the other candidate and potential candidate countries to EU integration. So with this in mind, I should like to focus, or to switch the focus a little bit from the Western Balkans to the case of Romanian-Ukrainian relations, and to this peculiar but very welcome British country.
When you are a bit tired, you have more time to reflect. Okay. Because I don't speak very well English, my English is French English. I want to ask to my colleague Edina, because most part of the people doesn't speak French. Okay. Because I would like to say something in Romania. Deci, domnule decan, mă bucur că sunteți aici.
So, Mr. Dean, it's an honor to have you here.
Și sunteți prezent la un program de studii, de fapt, un departament care s-a născut acum 20 de ani.
And you're now being present at a department that has a 20-year history.
Prezența dumneavoastră aici, eu văd ca atât ca un simbol al aprecierii pe care o dați acestui grup de la Oradea.
So your presence here is a symbol of your appreciation of this group from Oradea.
Având în vedere că Facultatea de Studii Europene din Cluj-Napoca este un pionier în studii europene nu numai pentru România, la momentul respectiv.
In this curriculum at the level of Romania, but also on international level.
Tot respectul pentru oamenii care au avut ideea să înființeze această facultate.
So all my respect to those people who have founded this association at Magical University.
Și ca unul care m-a ocupat în 2010 de curriculele de studii europene din universitățile din Europa, vreau să spun că sunteți singurii cu acest nume.
And myself, I was one of those people who took care of the curricula in the field of European studies, and to tell the truth that you are unique in this field at the level of Europe.
Deci, am învățat mult de la Facultatea de Studii Europene.
I have learned a lot from the Faculty of European Studies.
Am vrut să fim un urmaș direct aici la Oradea.
So we would like to represent a legacy.
Dar aici vine partea mai neplăcută și trebuie să o spun și prezența dumneavoastră, de fapt, înseamnă o art pentru timp, pentru prietenie, pentru viitor.
So your presence at the level of University of Oradea, it projects an arch for the future.
La momentul că vreo 3 ani am fost văzuți ca un rival.
So around 3 years ago, we were seen as rivals.
De către un coleg, prieten,
As a colleague, a friend,
tot respectul pentru dânsul.
so all my respect.
Pentru ca să fim acreditați.
At that moment, our students were sustaining the bachelor degrees and we were gradually graduated.
Ni s-a spus că nu suntem din nivelul studiilor europene.
So we were told that we were not at the level of European studies. So we were not.
Dar dacă vreți să acceptăm, atunci trebuie să dea studenții noștri 8 examene.
So if we want if the Oradea University wanted to accept, our students were supposed to give like 8 exams.
Și printre cei care trebuia să fie supus la un asemenea supliciu este nimeni altul decât Crișpa.
And first of all, I was one of those students who were supposed to give.
Acum vă las pe dumneavoastră să-i măsurați competențele.
I know it's up to you to measure his competences.
Așa.
Și am făcut să ne făceam.
Și în condițiile respective, refuzați, am încercat la Iași și am ajuns la București.
So we were confused and we arrived at Bucharest.
La SNSP-a București,
SNSP-a, the national.
care ne-au tratat cu foarte multă eleganță.
You have treated us with elegance.
Ne-au spus, studenții nu trebuie să dea niciun fel de examen de echivalare.
So they told us, the SNSP-a from Bucharest, that our students didn't have to make any kind of exams.
Dar dacă ne asigurați camere la hotel, venim la FedEx și examinăm la Oradea.
We're going to examine our students.
Și uite așa, ocolim Cluj, am ajuns la București.
That's why we pushed the right to Bucharest.
Deși suntem oarecum legați de Cluj prin... Eu sunt absolvent de Cluj, avem colegi care sunt absolvenți de Cluj,
We are somehow linked to Cluj. I myself, I am a
dar noi în momentul acesta suntem un mix, pentru că datorăm foarte mult SNSP-ului,
Now today we are mixed because we owe a lot to SNSP-a.
dar vă spune că nu suntem concurenți.
But we're not rivals.
Și așa se întâmplă în viață.
This is how it happens in life.
Pe cel care vrei să-l distrugi,
The one that you want to destroy.
ajunge să îți fie partener.
So it's going to be your partner.
Și asta se face că
New generation.
o nouă generație, da, am ajuns conducător de doctorat la Cluj,
I'm a PhD coordinator at Cluj.
în relații
In
internaționale,
international relations.
dar nu la studii europene.
Not at European studies.
La concurența din...
That's a rival.
Așa. Când Mircea și-a dat abilitare, eu l-am sfătuit să meargă la studii europene.
So when Professor Beer was giving his habilitation, I suggested that he should go to the European school. European school.
Așteptăm verdictul în cazul lui Alina.
So we are awaiting the decision in case of our colleague, Mrs. Alina Stoica.
Așa. Și de fapt, ce se întâmplă?
What is happening?
Acum suntem într-o familie.
Now we are a family.
Suntem într-o familie, au trecut 20 de ani, noi am uitat totul,
We're a family, 20 years have passed, and we have forgotten
am uitat
everything.
totul, organizăm conferințe, vă invităm
We're organizing conferences and we want you to attend.
și vrem să ținem aproape unii de alții,
And you want you to keep you close.
pentru că dumneavoastră aveți foarte multă expertiză pe anumite domenii,
Because you have a lot of expertise.
dar cred că pe domeniul frontierelor trebuie să ne lăsați nouă întâietatea în țară.
But when it comes to borders and frontiers, the primacy is ours.
Și mă bucur că colegii mei au dezvoltat această direcție în zona Balcanilor
And I'm happy that my colleagues have developed this direction in the field of the Balkans.
și împreună cu dumneavoastră veți continua.
And
Expertiza aceasta Mircea o aduce doctoranților dumneavoastră.
this expertise, Professor Beer is bringing this expertise to the PhD students.
Am dezvoltat expertiza pe noi, altă parte, pe Ucraina și Moldova. Vreau să vă fac o invitație
And by this I would like to make an invitation
ca în 11 octombrie
on the 11th of October
să veniți cu un grup de colegi de la Studii Europene
to come with a group of colleagues from the Faculty of European Studies
la aniversarea 20 de ani
at the 20 years
de
anniversary
când la Oradea sunt
of
Studii
International
Europene.
European Studies.
Mulțumesc!
Thank you very much, Professor Reddy. Well, I think I'm going to speak about wars. I'm ready for this. But it's also in remembrance of indeed the history that we share and the partnership that we now cultivate. So the Faculty of European Studies of Cluj, it was created by the European Union through a campus project. Also, on the point of having an anniversary, very soon.
It is also
On the point of having an anniversary very soon. It's not a problem. So I'm very happy that you extended this invitation to us. I'd also like to stress the fact that we do have in common not only the doctoral school of the Faculty of European Studies in International Relations and European Studies, but we do have a lot of research topics that we are generally building in common. So the frontier, the border, has been a major liaison factor for us to reach out and acquire knowledge. The Western Balkans are a treasure trove of research for us. We've had so many projects operating, dissecting the Western Balkans. There's still so much for us to learn. We acknowledge the fact that due to their complexity and richness, we're still at the beginning of understanding the Western Balkans. And what's happening today, what's happening in general, in our collaboration is helping us more. So definitely many more things that bring us together now that may have divided us in the past that we have definitely overcome from the standpoint of who we are. So thank you very much for that comment. It's truly a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thanks a lot. One question, Martin, please. The last one. Maybe in English. Okay. Good.
Hello and welcome to Oradea to everybody. My name is Gabriel. Mr. Lee, I would like to ask you how you compare two crises which one was in Europe regarding the crisis from the refugees from Syria and the refugees from Ukraine. Both of them, the direction was, for both of them, the direction was European Union. How do you compare the reaction of European Union and all the institutions regarding to these two crises? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. First of all, our research was chiefly from the standpoint of Romania. So what I can say is that the difference is noticeable due to the fact that Romania, unlike what some politicians would claim, was not on the migratory route. For most of openness and support, given the novelty of the situation, is unprecedented. And in the case of Romania has very little experience with regard to the refugee crisis in general. But it's gaining a lot of experience because the border also amplifies the perceptions of the crisis. The degree of outrageousness or seriousness of how Romanians have perceived the crisis has been directly proportional to the reactions in general. And also the possibility that the conflict will spread in an area that is culturally and linguistically so close to the hearts of Romanians only amplified the extent of the support. With respect to the Romanian attitude, this is all I can say because again, the refugee crisis in Syria was tackled at the level of the European Union differently. It was a different time. It was a different proximity. I do believe that proximity plays a very significant role because Ukraine was better known. Ukraine was an aspiring member of the Western world, whereas Syria was largely unknown, especially to the people. Ukraine was better known also because Ukraine had been part of Europe's history and Europe's culture to a very large extent. So I do believe that these reactions come also proportionally to the aspirations of the country that is affected directly by the conflict. And the fact that Ukraine was making its sovereign choice to join the military alliance, which is definitely the possibility of any democracy nowadays, unhampered, unhindered by any foreign power. And the fact that Ukraine was also undergoing massive controversy because we've seen what was going on in 2009, for example, realities that were emanating from Ukraine and realities that are happening now. And I think that this has prompted the kind of organic reaction on the part of the European Union. So again, the security of the European Union and more than 20 countries of the Union are also members of NATO, so this could have a disastrous effect on the European Union that has made a point of integrating mutual security into its latest major treaty, the Treaty of Lisbon. Thank you. Professor Lapo, please.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation of reception of the Romanians and the Ukraine support. Also, I admire the perfect aristocratic English for which I do congratulate you. I have a very brief comment because I see that there are many questions regarding your presentation. I to refer to your conclusions as to, it is striking to see who is guilty for the war in Ukraine. So you have maybe a slide here who is the guilty person in this war. For a Romanian, to me, it is absolutely striking to see that Romanians don't perceive the United States only to a percentage, a very small one, 10.4%, which is absolutely, I wonder whether you refer to this in your conclusions and further studies, because the United States is one of the triggering factors of the war and one of the guiltiest person in this war. And unfortunately, the Romanians don't perceive it this way. Sorry to say, at stake in this whole war, Ukraine versus, I mean, Ukraine is the difference between the poles, right? So the issue at stake is the de-dollarization. So Putin is seen like a giant guilty person, right? Ukrainians, or in the perception of the Romanians, doesn't this show that we are extremely subservient to certain interests in this respect? So unfortunately, do Romanians have a say? Who are the people who are submitted to this part, let's say? Because the United States cannot have only a 10% guilty role in this whole.
Thank you very much, Professor. Well, we will be on very different speaking terms in this regard. I'm actually quite surprised that 10% of Romanians claim that the United States may be responsible for the outcome or the trigger of this war, because Romania itself made a lot of sovereign choices with respect to who the entities that guarantee its security would be. And I think that, well, first of all, this particular survey that you see here is not necessarily surprising given the history of Romanian-Russian relations throughout the 20th and 21st century and the history of perceptions thereof. And it's not very surprising when we understand how much support the idea of our belonging to NATO actually enjoys on the part of the Romanian people. Definitely ourselves included. I can tell you that much from the very start. The way I see things is that a country may opt for a variety of choices in international affairs, as we did after we liberated ourselves from the plight of communism. Whereas other countries that had a tradition of non-involvement or even of neutrality have thought about it twice in recent times and are now considering, or even are on the point of joining NATO themselves. Why? Because they perceive Russia as the aggressor, because they perceive Russia as the entity that has broken international law. This also seems to be the case with the International Court of Justice, by what we're seeing so far. And because we as Romanians, I think that we have an obligation to ourselves and to history to respect the right of every country to make a sovereign choice with regard to its alliances. Again, one sovereign choice would be neutrality. I do not contest that. I think that neutrality has worked well throughout history for a lot of countries. The second choice is to be in the Russian sphere of influence, and we have been. And we speak about setbacks, we speak about the French literature booms with the idea of the décalage, because of that period of time. The third choice is to make once again a sovereign choice of joining a military alliance whose sole purpose appears to be defense, that has never resorted to aggression in the form that the Russian Federation has. And Ukraine seems to be denied this sovereign choice at this time. Ukraine has clearly expressed a popular belief through a democratically elected government that it wishes to join a certain path towards the European Union, towards NATO, and this government enjoys the support of the population, and it was the response of that was a so-called special military operation that has all the attributes of an invasion, all the attributes, there is none missing in terms of international law. Others 10.4% know and where the resources of information are, because there has been no clearer recent conflict where the aggressor could be pinpointed, in our view, in our research. That is my point. We obviously do not see eye to eye on this one, but these are the arguments, and I think that when it comes to freedom of choice, I don't know what can trump that. I don't know what can beat that. Thank you.
Actually,
thank you, Professor. Actually, I got part of my question, at least in this last answer. I wanted to thank you very much for the presentation. It was really useful, especially for us coming from Western Balkans, which a region which is facing some similarities with the even not directly like Ukraine and Russia, but some implications are also there. We have seen the change of perception of the civil society as well as the political leadership of Romania toward the war in Ukraine. And in my point of view, it's not only the case with Romania, it's more or less the change of perception worldwide in Europe and also in the world, because everyone is looking at what's happening there. But I am really curious to know, at least your opinion. Do you think Romania will continue with this support, having in consideration that there are some political implications in terms of the minorities and stuff like that?
Shown a lot of cases where the Romanian authorities mobilize themselves, sometimes in an exemplary way, sometimes perhaps more than has been done. But the starkest of all was the idea of accepting, of embracing and supporting Ukraine's application to join the European Union. Why am I saying that? Because a country that is torn apart, ravaged by war, obviously needs a lot of funding to rebuild. And we're already getting the first estimates of how much funding we're actually talking about. Romania is still very much reliant on the financial instruments of the regional policy of the European Union. Romania is still very much reliant and meant to continue to be reliant on the CAP, the Common Agricultural Policy and so on. All of this funding is very, very, very clearly going to be shared. And the budget of the European Union, whenever there's talk about bringing more money from the instrument for pre-accession assistance, for example, there's always a very, very big and stark opposition. So I think that the ultimate proof of maturity and continuity and persistence of the Romanian attitude is the very fact that it's embracing the idea of Ukraine's application because it knows what it entails. Our government understands, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs definitely understands that this entails a lot of sacrifices on the part of Romania, a lot of cuts and a lot of shortages when it comes to the support that Romania vitally needs. We're standing in this beautiful building and we have this beautiful campus that our colleagues have shown us around. How much of this is also due to, who? Not to the other guys. So Romania is going to make this sacrifice, but there are big mistakes. It is very clear that the European Commission, let's not forget about that. And that's a big political subject, and it's even bigger within the heart.
Thank you very much, Mr. Professor, for your presentation, for question. Maybe if you have one more question, we'll have time during the break, lunch, and so on and so on. We'll continue now with one more presentation. We still have, according to the program, half an hour. Professor Socan is the Dean of the Faculty of International Relations, Political and Administrative Science. While Professor Socan prepared his presentation, I will tell you something. Firstly, he will present his presentation in our language. It will be a very good opportunity for our guests from different worlds to see, understand the beauty of our land. I don't want offense with this. I never told you the name of the language, okay? Because one part of the Moldavians call this language Romanian language, and the others call this language Moldavian language. The language creates a nation and new state, actually, not only the nation. I will tell you a story. I'm very happy because we have colleagues from Israel here. We have many colleagues, Muslims here, in Torah, in Bible, in Quran. We have very wonderful story regarding building of the Babel Tower. And the people build something huge. They understood they are very powerful, very strong, and they want to achieve something. And we want to build something unto the God. And the God said, look, they can do it. And the God said, mix their language. And the people with different language wasn't able to work together, live together, defend something together, and other language was even the other community. And the other, usually in the history, because I'm a historian, is competitor, maybe enemy, not possible partner to build something strong until the God. Believe this and think about this in this 19th and 18th century process of building the nation as the most powerful instrument, even in the Balkans, even in the Republic of Moldova. This is
Mircea. Bucuros să salut asistență. Aș vrea să încep speech-ul meu pentru a aduce gratitudine organizatorilor pentru oportunitatea de a fi în fața voastră și a veni cu un subiect destul de sensibil. Veneam și citeam în speech-ul Muzeului Țara Clipurilor, îmi place foarte mult denumirea asta. Și mă gândeam că probabil vin din țara Moldovilor. Nu românește nu sună, dar este vorba de mai sunt și mai multe moldovi. Moldova, partea României, Moldova, Republica Moldova și Transnistria, care este o republică autoproclamată. Eu vreau să spun mai puțin îmi place să spun țara Moldovilor, aș vrea să zic țara românească, dar asta este realitatea și trebuie să ținem cont de ea. Un an în urmă veneam cu o altă conferință, ținea de o altă problemă sensibilă, Unirea. Astăzi mi-am propus să abordez problema transnistreană. Adevărat, din perspectiva programelor și activității partidelor politice din Republica Moldova, îmi dau seama că este un subiect poate de atractiv și interesant pentru mulți dintre voi, deci am încercat să-l adaptez într-o formă sau alta, să vin cu niște reflexii care țin de subiectul dat. Și să ai discutat în perioada, așa, zice, ca o introducere în el, dezintegrării Uniunii Sovietice, a culminat cu un război de ministru care a durat în lunile martie-iulie 1992. S-a soldat cu apariția unei regiuni, zice, sioniste, care s-a auto-intitulat Transnistria. Noi spunem răoanele din stânga Nistrului, dar, mă rog, pentru un mesaj așa mai scurt, spunem Transnistria. Deși aceasta nu era recunoscută de niciun stat, se bucura de susținerea politico-militară și financiară a Federației Ruse. Eforturile de în timp el s-a transformat într-un conflict înghețat. Eforturile de soluționare a conflictului au perpetuat, în timp, motiv în care noi putem folosi sintagma, problema transnistreană, lucruri pe care o vorbi în continuare, este o chestie așa, poate, și de teorie. Aici, așa, un scurt portret statistic, fundal statistic legat de Transnistria. Zona nistreană ocupă 12,3% din teritoriul Republicii Moldova. La 1 ianuarie 89, populația număra aproape 700.000 de locuitori. Este interesant, adică cei ce consideră 70% din populația Republicii Moldova, din populația Republicii Sovietice Socialiste Moldovenești, mai corect, pentru atunci, din care este interesant aici și aspectul
ați menționat că din ce merge Republica Moldova totuși nu este anexat, nu este, dar spre aderarea la Uniunea Europeană și să scape de sub influența Federației. Credeți că Rusia ar putea folosi alte metode de a-și păstra influența pe teritoriul Republicii Moldova? Pentru că observăm că în momentul actual totuși este Transnistria și Găgăuția.
Da, da. Mulțumesc că, de fapt, dacă observăm pentru state sau regiuni cum este Republica Moldova, teritoriile este mai mici, de-a lungul istoriei sunt create oportunități, apar oportunități. Ele sunt o șansă pentru aceste teritorii, pentru populația care locuiește acolo. Mă refer rezultatul primului război mondial Marea Unire. Când ar fi distraniu și spun în urmă unei tragedii care se întâmplă în Ucraina, Republica Moldova beneficiază, eu spun așa, de unele lucruri care poate în alte situații ar fi durat mult timp. Mă refer la Republica Moldova este recunoscută deci ca țară pentru negocieri și în decembrie s-a luat decizia dacă se încep negocierile, este țară candidat la Uniunea Europeană sau la aderare, lucru care nu era de neimaginat până în februarie 2022. Sigur că Republica Moldova poate deveni mai atractivă. Acum, influența Rusiei probabil va continua, eu cred că care își va menține suveranitatea și independența, adică va niște învingătoare din acest, nu știu dacă pot să spun învingătoare, deci își va menține independența și, prin urmare, Transnistria nu va mai putea să beneficieze de suport care va avea altă dată și de comunicarea asta directă care se făcea pe teritoriul Ucrainei. Dar cu influența informațională, sunt niște lucruri care, dacă sunteți de acolo, le înțelegeți foarte bine. Eu întrebam studenții mei, dar nu e comportarea aceasta a Rusiei, a lui Putin. Putin, de fapt, în timp era cel mai, și acum rămân cei mai populari politicieni în Republica Moldova. Și întrebam studenții mei, de unde vine asta, de unde credeți? Și mulți îmi spuneau că unul din părinți lucrează la Moscova, de exemplu, lucrează la Sankt Petersburg. Și venitul familiei, bunăstarea familiei depinde de acești bani care vin și părerea greu este o realitate. Vreau să vă zic că propaganda Rusiei este foarte fină și omniprezent. Deci eu fac destul de profesionism cu asta. Sperăm în timp lucrurile schimbe, sperăm ca, faptul aderarea și procesul de aderare la Uniunea Europeană, care va fi unul dureros la prima etapă și colegii din România știu lucrul ăsta atunci când trebuie să implementeze mai multe pachete de aderare, care nu este ușor, să înseamnă reforme și pe mulți îi pot leza interesele, dar una cu alta sperăm că, gradul de bunăstare care va avea Uniunea Europeană, eu știu, proiectul european va prevala asupra unor alții au un interes mai puțin atunci când vorbesc despre Federația Rusă. Eu cred că după acest război și Federația Rusă sperăm să fie alta. Sperăm și acolo, nu poate să se întâmple lucrurile, eu cred că va fi și acolo o schimbare sistemică, dar probabil lucrurile se vor mai lăsa așteptate. Da, mulțumesc.
Eu mulțumesc foarte mult. Din păcate, timpul nostru s-a scurs, nu mai putem să luăm o întrebare, rugăm să spuneți întrebările în privat. Islam, te rog frumos, scurtă aminte de toată lumea.
Dear guests, dear students, dear presenters, speakers, chairman, thank you very much for your hard work in this first part of our conference. We are half an hour late, so I will not speak too much. I just want to tell you what will come. I mean, how we continue. First of all, we will go to the university's restaurant during the main campus. All the guests and the students who are involved in organizing are invited. Please stay together and let's go to the restaurant. And after the lunch, if I'm not wrong, at 2:30, we will move to the building of our faculty in Campus 2B building. Our students involved in the conference organization will support, will help you, but actually we are not so many anymore. And thank you very much again. And I hope that in the afternoon you will have at least.
Dacă vrei să fii obiectiv într-o lume subiectivă, urmărește Lumea în Obiectiv cu Mircea Bratosin.